Fox Radio with Greg Bakken airs 5 nights a week at 10 p.m. That's 5 nights of talking about ghosts, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. We're talking about the paranormal every Monday through Friday with some of the most trusted names in the field. Join us and step into the unknown with Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. Only if you dare.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Snow and freezing rain expected this afternoon with a high of 29. Then tonight, cloudy with a low of 28. The AM 950 calendar is back for 2025 as a thank you to all of those who have become members at AM 950. The calendars feature the fantastic photography of Matt McNeil and important progressive dates. Head over to am950radio.com to see how you can get yours.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Good morning, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've made the connection and are with us today. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us that get us thinking, get us talking, get us imagining, get us connected, and perhaps inspired or challenged to do just a bit more because we've made the connection. Our topic today is our continuing series on library connections, and that's brought to us by MELSA. MELSA stands for the Metropolitan Library Service Agency. And if you are interested in learning more about MELSA, you can go to melsa.org. That's melsa.org. My co-hosts are Sally of MELSA and Susan the librarian. Welcome.
Hello.
Thanks.
Sally and Susan, it's always a joy to have you here. And you have invited some terrific librarians. This is a celebration of librarians today.
Libraries.
Yes.
At libraries. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share. We have 4 guests that we will be talking to throughout our show today. Paula Lafreniere. Paula, welcome.
Hi, thanks. Good to be here.
Wonderful to have you. Kelsey Johnson Kaiser.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a delight. Jessica Shank.
Oh, you know what? Jessica, I think is, yay, just in the nick of time.
There we go, Jessica.
She got on.
Hello.
Welcome, Jessica. We're glad you're here. And Chase Sun.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to start with Susan, the librarian, my co-host. And a couple questions I have for you is that I know this time of year you're kind of wrapping up the year and you're looking for planning for the year ahead. Are there some things that are going on this holiday season and some things that you're looking for next year?
Well, usually during the holiday season, most of the libraries in the Twin Cities, our official programming, we kind of ramp back on it. We find a lot of people are busy. So there might be a story time break or this or that. But usually we have a few things going like, New Year's Eve celebrations for kids. We have that at Carver County Library. There's some other, kind of more informal programming that we might lay out at different libraries throughout the Twin Cities. You can come and do a puzzle. Most of the libraries have learning and play areas for children. So whereas we don't have our usual, here's all of our story times, here's all of our adult programming, there's always something to do at the library. Meanwhile, the librarians are busy planning for next year, including for winter reads for adults coming up at all Twin Cities libraries in January and February, where you can read books. You get a prize just for signing up.
Sounds great. Sally, do you have some things that you like to have talked about during the holiday season?
Yeah, and actually, this sort of relates to our Libby app, which we've mentioned many times before, but we do know that people take road trips to their relatives' homes and things like that during the holidays, or they need to take trains or planes or have travel involved. And so we want to remind people to pack the Libby app so that you can load up with free e-magazines and e-audio and e-books to make your travel all that better.
Added travel guides, a bunch of travel guides to Libby. So that should make your travel planning easier.
And for those that don't know what Libby is, Susan, tell us a little bit about how you access Libby.
It is a free app through all of our library systems that you sign on with your library card and your PIN. And you get access to a collection of ebooks, e-audiobooks, and e-magazines for all ages. And it's Twin Cities wide, so it's a huge collection.
And we are one of the top users of Libby, as I understand, in
Yes.
the world.
In the world, the Twin Cities metro area is usually 1 or 2 for Libby checkouts in a year. So that's another thing the libraries are doing. We're gathering our statistics.
And if you like the New York Times, you can get that through there. I love that.
Yes.
There's all kinds of good stuff.
Newspapers, magazines, and what's nice about the magazines through Libby is you can check out as many as you want and keep them for as long as you want.
Well, with that, tell me your favorite books, Susan, that you have had this year and any recommendations that you have for us.
A couple popped up at the end of the year for me that caught my attention. One of them is You Gotta Eat: Real Life Strategies for Feeding Yourself When Cooking Feels Impossible by Margaret Eby. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Because we all have those days when we get home or are fried and your brain can't find something to eat, and this gives you strategies and recipes and ways to follow recipes for what you have on hand.
I
which
love
is
that.
kind of invaluable.
Because I do keep a lot of cans in my.
Yep, those are handy.
Yes.
And she even has if you're really fried, this is what you do, and here's 2 steps.
I love it.
She's got a 2-step mug cake. It's a beautiful thing. Another one that I really liked, I was kind of surprised how much I liked it, was the Cher biography. Autobiography, part 1. Part 2 is out next year. So, yeah.
She shared a lot about her life that she hadn't shared before, as I understand.
Is that a pun?
Oh, yes, it was. Unintentional, but it was. Sharing.
She did, yes. That's what made the book kind of a very interesting and engrossing read, even if you're a casual fan. There are some autobiographies that are more for the solid fan, like the 900-plus page Barbara Streisand. If you like Barbara Streisand, it's a great book. If you're a casual fan, you might want to do that one in chunks. And my favorite book of the year, because I'm a huge fan of the band, is... The name of this band is REM, a biography by Peter Ames Carlin, and it does have some Minnesota references in it for the local fans that you may or may not have known.
You always bring a nice eclectic collection for us to be thinking about, and I appreciate that.
That's what I do.
That's great. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to start with some of our librarians. And we're going to move in. We're going to start with Paula in this first segment, but I know we're going to be having Paula also continue into the second segment. But we're going to start with Paula Lafreniere, and she is the Adult Service Coordinator at Scott County Library. And I understand you have always loved books and stories, so it's no surprise that you began at 15 shelving at your local library. So tell me about the work you do.
Well, basically, I'm in charge of all the, for Scott County, I'm coordinate all of the adult programming and all of the adult services, basically. So reference falls under there, and anything that has to do with adults, it goes to me, which I love because I'm an adult and I can relate.
That's important.
Yeah. So yeah, we have 7 branches in the system, and we're scattered all throughout Scott County. We have a Readmobile, not a bookmobile, but a Readmobile, and that is specifically outreach for kids that just can't get to the library. So it has several stops. It's very popular, especially in the summertime. And we try to get out there. We also
so instead of an ice cream truck, it's a library book truck.
Yeah, and they can come on and they can take a book off and check it out and hopefully bring it back. But if they don't, we just let that slide.
I love it. Now, you started your work, you began your work as a reference librarian, and you've always loved specializing with adults.
Yep.
And when we say reference, what's a good way for folks to understand what a reference librarian is?
Oh, that's the term has kind of changed over time. Now we have just librarians, but a reference librarian back in back when I started, was someone who had a MLS, a Master in Library Science, and basically answered whatever questions came into the library. And so it's everything under the sun you get. I have, there's funny questions, there's kind of weird questions, there's, really serious questions. So it's wonderful to do that because you get to meet and greet all kinds of people. And
You're sort of the original Google then.
Yeah, sort of.
You were what Google based their question and answers on.
Exactly.
And everybody who's done reference has a story of some very interesting questions that they get. Like one of mine was, I have read a book. There was a mitten or glove on the cover, and I would like to read that book again.
That's a good one. And were you able to answer it though, Susan?
Yes, I was.
Oh, that is good. That is good. Now Google couldn't do that.
No, Google could spit back about 50 million books that may or may not have a mitten or glove on the cover, depending on how the AI feels that day.
In fact, we probably should someday have like a competition between Google and the reference library. And how
we would win.
I think you would. I think we would. And with that, I do need to have us go to break. I want to repeat for folks to check out the MELSA website. It's MELSA.org. Great stuff happens in the Metropolitan Library, and MELSA is a good way to learn about some of the good things that are happening out there. And we'll be right back after a few short commercials, and we'll continue talking to our friend Paula Lafreniere, who is the Adult Services Coordinator at Scott County Library.
It's the time of the year where we begin to see the snow fly. If your vehicle needs to get ready for the winter driving ahead, take it in for service at Rudy Luther Toyota. Rudy Luther Toyota's service department is top-notch, no matter if you're looking for routine maintenance or bigger service. They're committed to providing you the care and expert service their loyal customers have come to trust. You can schedule an appointment at rudyluthertoyota.com and make sure to check out their website for the latest service specials. To schedule your service, head to rudyluthertoyota.com. That's rudyluthertoyota.com.
Cafe Latte offers made-from-scratch soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts.
So come check out their pizza and wine bar, or get a treat from the bakery made fresh daily. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout, along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
Step into a world of financial empowerment with the Do Different Better show. I'll be your host, Elaine Rasmussen. Join me Sundays at noon on AM 950 as we do a deep dive into wealth education with topics like investing, real estate, and entrepreneurship. No nonsense, tell it like it is, keeping it 100 for everyday people like you. Tune in to get practical insights to rewrite your financial future. So each Sunday at noon, let's do different better. You can hear Do Different Better anytime on your favorite app. Learn more about me at socialimpactnow.com.
Think your company's safe? Your staff is working from home, right? As I speak, cyber criminals are mounting attacks across the country. Remember, when we're weakest, cyber criminals attack. Hi, Mark Sommerfeld from Rymark. The Rymark team is guiding our clients through these difficult times. In fact, demand has been so high, we created an easy-to-follow guide. It's yours free. Download our 5 steps to securely work from home now at rymarkit.com or call 651-328-8900 for a no-cost how-to discussion.
Well, Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and we talk about ideas that matter, and I'm glad you've joined the conversation. Our topic today is continuing our series on library connections, and that's brought to us by MELSA, and MELSA stands for the Metropolitan Library Service Agency. And we have Sally of MELSA and Susan the librarian who co-host with me this show. Welcome, you two.
Thanks.
I'm so glad you're in, and you're such great planners, and it's been just a joy to be working on these shows. We started in September, and we've gone through December, and we've just thoroughly enjoyed learning all about the wonderful library system.
There won't be a quiz.
There won't be. Thank you. Thank you. That is good. So what we've been talking about is learning a little bit about librarians, and I'm going to introduce the librarians that have joined our show, and then we'll also be continuing our conversation with Paula Lafreniere. She is the Adult Services Coordinator at Scott County Library. Welcome, Paula.
Nice to be here.
We have Kelly Johnson Kaiser, and she is the Youth and Family Services Manager at St. Paul Public Library. Welcome, Kelsey.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Jessica Shank is the Library Program Coordinator for Carver County Library. Welcome, Jessica.
Hello, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And Chase Sunt, who is the current library manager at St. Francis Library with the Anoka County Library System.
Hi there.
Hi there, Chase. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with each of you. But I'm going to go back to Paula. Paula is as I mentioned, the Adult Services Coordinator at Scott County. And she was sharing about what a reference librarian is and how reference librarians can rival the Google search as far as I'm concerned. And you do a lot of wonderful programs designed for adults. I also know that as a small child, you loved mystery book about a lost ruby and a story about a thunderstorm. Do you still love those kind of stories?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm a sucker for any mystery, really. And if it happens to have jewels that have been stolen, all to the better.
Oh, that's great.
And thunderstorms, I love thunderstorms. So yeah, I'll read anything on storm chasing or whatever. I'm in a good place too in Minnesota with all the tornadoes activity that happens in spring.
It does keep you busy and keeping up with Minnesota weather. We sure have a lot of it. Now, when folks are looking for adult services, what does that mean in terms of how you support that throughout the Scott County?
Well, we look at all of the adults that are in our community, whether they come into the library or not. And we want to serve each and every one of them in the best way that we can. So a lot of that, of course, is our collection. But on top of the collection, we also do programming, and we also do some specialized services. For instance, we have a rather new service that we've started called Library to You. It's been going on for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years now, between the staff will bring materials to a specific senior facility and provide materials for adults there. And more recently, we have started a volunteer program whereabouts volunteers will take materials to individuals in their homes that are basically homebound. So that's kind of more of a service. And then we have all of the adult programming too. And then, of course, reference and computer help and all of that sort of thing.
Do you have a favorite program?
Well, the one that's coming up is my personal favorite. It's one that we started, oddly enough, during the pandemic. And that it's called Cozy Up. And now it's actually Cozy Up and Winter Reads. We decided to stick them together. And Winter Reads is, I think somebody had mentioned previously, is the program that MELSA and all of the Metro libraries do together in January and February. And Cozy Up for us is sometimes a packet, sometimes a booklet, sometimes some sheets of activities, games, whatever for adults. Especially, we're kind of aiming at seniors, but it's really for any adult. It's really fun. We love to come up with the activities and stuff to keep people happy and interested. And then we also have art projects that we provide through some of our local vendors. Again, this is legacy money that is funded through MELSA. And the art projects are as much a draw as the games and other things, but Yeah, we also deliver out to senior facilities, mostly assisted living, and again, we'll send some out to our homebound individuals. So yeah, we do. That's my favorite. It's because I helped come up with it. So
well, it sounds like it's a great way to connect. And on Connections Radio Show, we love to have those kind of connections shared. So thank you.
Yeah.
Kelsey Johnson Kaiser, you are the Youth and Family Services Manager for St. Paul Public Library.
Yes, I am.
And you do wonderful things in creating good, playful spaces. Tell me about that.
Yes, I would love to. So when we think about, kids and teens and adults using the library, we often think about the books and the literacy pieces, which is really important, but something that we've been really focused on in St. Paul for the last several years is that often families, especially families with young kids, need places to go where their kids can play and be active, use those gross motor skills. And we also know that playing is the way that little kids learn. You can't separate the two. And so what we know is that a core service that we can provide for families with young children is space to play, and spaces that are free, that can be used at any time of year, that are developmentally appropriate, they're safe. And so that's something that in my work I'm especially excited about, is creating these really robust spaces for kids where they can come and play, and things might change up so that we can keep it fresh. Or 1 month, maybe they're doing the coffee shop play set, which has been really popular. And maybe another month it's ramps and tubes, because they want to be able to build things and see what happens when you put a car down one direction and then what happens when you angle it a little bit sharper. So that's something, especially as we go into, the seasons, summer and winter, where we have some of those extreme temperatures. Either way, we really want to make sure that families can come in and they can get the books and they can keep reading together at the library and at home, but they also get a chance to get out of the house and have a good time together.
Some of the things that really strike me about what you said is when I grew up, going to the library, you had to make sure you sat on your chair and you had to be very quiet. And you had to behave in a certain way. And what I love, and I've also, my minor was in child development. I love creative drama. I love creative play. That is where kids learn. And having the library be a place of learning, and not just a place where your books and how you have to act, but a place of discovery, just sounds delightful.
More and more library systems are kind of being a little more sneaky in kind of putting forth the 5 best practices of early literacy. And besides play, there's reading, writing, play, talk, and singing. So when we have these learning spaces in the library, we're also helping kids with their literacy levels.
I love that. I love the idea of going into the library and singing. That
happens a lot, and especially when the kids do it, it's usually pretty darn cute.
I love it. Now, Kelsey, you live in St. Paul, and you have a 3-year-old son and a dog, Sprout. And you really love investing in play spaces for all.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And, child development is something that I've been interested in for a long time. And I think as we, over the last many years, have continued to see the ways that libraries are adapting to be spaces for the community, and recognizing that this is a place where we really welcome everybody to come in. It's important to think about, where are the different touch points where we can meet people. And as a parent of a young child, I see it every day. And when I didn't have a child, I saw it every day with families coming in. You're looking for places to go and ways to engage. And the idea that you can do that in a space that's really meant for your child, that you can come in at any point for free, and they get to play with all these things they might not have access to otherwise, is so important. And we also know that there are a lot of kids in our community who don't have access to other play spaces, right? Or maybe they live in an area where there's not a lot of green space, or walking to a park isn't a very accessible option, but walking to a library might be. And so it is just sort of something that's fueled me for a long time. And I think now, even more that I have a little one, it's certainly given me more ideas about what are the types of things that we could do, or what are the really surprising things that he likes that I think, oh, I wouldn't have expected that. But actually 3-year-olds really love to clean. So one of the most popular play spaces is a cleaning kit. And there's like a broom and a mop and fake spray bottles. And so the nice thing is the kids are learning, they're learning these life skills. And they're getting a chance to play and do some of that creative play like you're talking about.
And also to lean into the name of the show, both the adults and children form connections at the library.
You know, it's funny because I was thinking the same thing. I love the idea that it's multi-generational in a library. You know, it's not, this is, you know, and we've got spaces, there's senior centers, there's, you know, childcare, but at a library, they all can come together. And I think that's what also can build community and understanding and learning from each other. So I'm glad we had both the adult services and the youth and family to talk about how we all can come together and learn in new ways and be open to learning in new ways. And with that, I do need to go to break. We have a couple good commercials that will be coming up. But I do want to, before you go, just remind people that if you want to learn more about MELSA, you can go to MELSA.org. That's MELSA.org. And we'll be back after just, you know, a few commercials, and we'll learn more about some other great things that are happening in our library system.
Eat Local Minnesota is a great way to find locally owned Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors. You'll find high-quality food and unique eating experiences with dishes from around the world. Just visit eatlocalminnesota.com for your next meal. Crooner Supper Club invites you to Maggie's Lounge, an exciting new bar lounge. It's open Wednesdays through Sundays beginning at 4:30 for cocktails and light fare. And you don't need a ticket to enjoy the great atmosphere of Maggie's. So stop by Crooner Supper Club off Moore Lake and Highway 65 for dinner, drinks, and live music from both big-name local and national artists. Cafe Latte combines a cafe dining experience with gourmet quality food. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
Whether you rent or own a home, we all likely have nightmare stories about home maintenance, or what I like to call home cringe moments. Join me, your host, Katie Shahan, for the Yarlow Home Cringe Show. See what home cringe-worthy stories we have for you each week as we talk with local home service pros. Learn best practices for winterizing your home or what to look for after a hailstorm. Listen to the Yarlow Home Cringe Show every Sunday at 2 p.m. or on your favorite podcast app.
Hi, I'm Bruce Klopfleisch, a college political science instructor and attorney. Join me every Sunday at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters. We dive into how civics, politics, and law affect you. Discover how government impacts your daily life from the federal level all the way down to your local city. Each week, I'll share my key takeaways and teaching moments on crucial civics concepts to help understand what is happening in the current political environment. That's Politics Matters with Bruce Klopfleisch, Sundays at 5 p.m. or anytime on your favorite podcast app.
Celebrate the holiday season with Open Eye Theater's Scrooge and Rouge, a hilarious twist on the classic Christmas Carol. Last year's critically acclaimed hit musical returns with outrageous costumes, sassy lyrics, and side-splitting performances by an all-star cast. It's guaranteed to get your spirits soaring. Scrooge and Rouge runs through December 29th. Get your tickets now at openeyetheater.org. Again, that's tickets at openeyetheater.org.
Dr. Stefano Sinacropi, an orthopedic spine surgeon and wellness evangelist, hosting the brand new Recharging the Human Battery show on AM 950 radio. My co-host Mandy Dickey and I will delve into various health topics ranging from medicine to nutrition to exercise, emerging technologies, and yes, some way out there stuff. Will provide a balanced view of today's landscape, helping listeners navigate its complexities and hoping to change the way you think about your health. Recharging the Human Battery airs Saturdays at 11 a.m.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Snow and freezing rain expected this afternoon with a high of 29. Then tonight, cloudy with a low of 28. For more than 40 years, the Great Wall Restaurant has been serving up Szechuan and Mandarin favorites. The Great Wall is located just north of 50th in France on the Minneapolis-Edina City line. Check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and we love to talk about ideas that matter, and I'm glad you have joined the conversation. Our topic today is continuing our series on library connections, and that's brought to us by MELSA. MELSA stands for the Metropolitan Library Service Agency. My co-hosts are Sally of MELSA and Susan the librarian.
Hello, world.
Hi.
And hello, Sally.
Hi.
So glad you're here. And Sally has done a great job in reaching out to librarians. So it's sort of our librarian hour. Paula Lafreniere shared with us about adult services that she does in Scott County. We're so glad you're here, Paula. And we have Kelsey Johnson Kaiser, and she is with Youth and Family Services Manager for St. Paul Public Library. And she just shared with us about all the wonderful family services and great things to play with kids and all the fun of learning through play. Welcome, Kelsey.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And Jessica Shank, I'm going to be having a good conversation with her during this segment. And she is the library program coordinator for Carver County Library. Thank you, Jessica, for joining us.
Thank you for having me today.
Absolutely. And Chase Sun, who is currently the library manager at the St. Francis Library with the Anoka County Library System.
Hi there. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Jessica, you are the library program coordinator, and you're here to talk to us about volunteer programs. Tell me about that.
Yes, and this might be a surprise, but libraries have volunteer programs, especially across our MELSA system. Most of your library branches or systems have a volunteer program. In Carver County Library System, we really strive to have our volunteers do meaningful work and services for our community members. Our volunteers help our staff build strong connections with our users. It's a delight to get to work with our volunteers. They let us have an insight into who our community members are. We really love that. We also have a goal to build vibrant and welcoming spaces across all of the library systems. A trend you're seeing in many library systems, even across the United States, libraries are looking to create belonging. A place where everyone can be. And I would say that especially post-pandemic, just coming out of all of the things that have happened in the last 4 years, we're seeing a lot of new interest in volunteering. A lot of programming, outreach, volunteer services had to be put on hold. And so we're seeing a really big buildup where libraries are having more volunteer opportunities. And that is true for Carver County Library System, the library system I represent as well. We're seeing community hubs really build around our volunteers.
Well, I understand that you grew up in Iowa and you have a background in both youth programming and nonprofits. And my guess is that has given you a good base to be thinking about what are volunteer opportunities.
Yes. So I formerly have worked with a lot of teens, and so I have a passion for helping our young leaders have a place in our society, in our community. When I was the teen services librarian for Carver County Library, and when I have worked with youth, when I worked in Iowa, I really value helping them find their voice, get involved in their community, and make a difference. I believe every human being in our communities has a role. And I think that's really true if we're really being the library that we want to be. Youth and other community organizations should be involved in our volunteer efforts.
And my guess is your volunteer opportunities range in all ages, but probably you have some good retirees that may be looking for opportunities to do something meaningful. Tell me about the types of people that want to volunteer and the types of volunteering that's available.
Yeah, of course. So different library systems structure their volunteer processes a little differently. I'm going to speak to what Carver County Library System has for their volunteering. We we have a requirement that all of our volunteers be 13 and older because we do some background checks and have some processes in place around that. But we do have some other informal options as well. So our volunteers fall into actually 4 categories. We have adult volunteers, teen volunteers, and then we have volunteers through organizations or partnerships. These might be like school organizations, for example. And then we also have our biggest advocate, our friends group, and our foundations that support our library work. Our adult volunteers is probably in Carver County Library one of our smaller groups of volunteers at the moment, one that we're looking to build up starting in 2025. Our teen volunteers often we try to create a volunteer experience that works around school schedules and sports and activities for that group. We do a really targeted job of meeting their needs. So with that, our teen volunteers usually volunteer over our summer reading program. This is kind of actually our bread and butter of volunteering at the moment. Our volunteers get to help and lead and set up programming for our younger age youth during the summer. Super fun. Having been a leader for teen services over the last 2 years, we've had escape rooms. Yeah.
Very
So,
great.
and those have just been so fun. So we've had escape rooms with all different kinds of themes, and then we would completely convert a room, an activity room or a space into a full escape room experience where our users could come in, and usually it had some kind of literacy tie back. For example, we've done an escape room around like dystopian theme books, as well as Harry Potter. So those have been really fun for our teens to help put together and then guide the younger kids through.
And you have a new program that you're going to be launching, a gardening club.
Yeah. So this is brand new. It's actually kind of an idea that came from our adult services team. In the past, we have had seed libraries in our library system, and we've started a community garden last year. And we have this idea to start a program that also has an opportunity for adults to volunteer in our community. And so we're starting a gardening club. This club will actually start at the Chaska Library, and the group will meet on a regular basis once a month. And the goal of this group will be to not just learn about garden-related topics, but also to help support their community through our community garden. Our volunteers will get to help tend to the community garden, potentially harvesting, weeding, watering the garden. And then our hope is that the volunteers will be able to help us distribute the produce locally and make a really big impact in our community food shelves and with some of our nonprofits that do work with families that don't have food or have food insecurity.
Okay.
And yeah.
Well, how wonderful. And it's, again, building community, and it's building the connections in the community and building connections with other nonprofits. And it's wonderful to have you be sharing this. I also know that, just a little personal note, you grew up in Iowa. You're a big supporter of music, and you love exploring our Minnesota parks, and you too value building community. And with that, we'll go to Chase, and I have a couple minutes just to get started with Chase's conversation, and then we'll go also into the 4th segment. But Chase, you're currently the library manager at the St. Francis Library with the Anoka County Library System. And not only do you develop and implement programs, but you create displays and promotions of services, and you collaborate with library staff on a various of systems of teams. So tell me a little bit about the legacy programs that you do, Chase.
Yeah, for sure. So legacy programs are another way to connect with MELSA, and they're funded sometimes through like that art and cultural heritage fund, which we receive from tax dollars, from the 2008 Legacy Amendment. And really, what's so great about those programs, it is about connections. And what's really cool about legacy programs is you can be anywhere in the metro and you can attend these programs. So people from Dakota County can come to Hennepin County, can come to Ramsey County, can come to Anoka County. And really what we strive to do, especially like at our programs, specifically like speaking at Anoka, is, we want to build that, engagement. We want to build that connection, but then most importantly, we want to create that impact. And we do that through various programs, and it could be like an art program, it could be a history program, it could be a tech program. So the options are limitless.
That's what I do have to go to commercial, but Chase, I'm going to look forward to talking a little bit more about how folks can get connected to these programs and how they can learn about what programs are coming up. But we'll go to commercial now. We'll come right back for the fourth segment. And we'll also, during the fourth segment, go around and find out other book recommendations that we have from our librarians. So stay with us. We'll be right back after a few short commercials.
The Illapoo Movement presents a winter solstice benefit concert on Friday, December 20th at the St. Anthony Main in Minneapolis from 5:30 to 8:30. Music is from Minnesota original Michael Monroe and Little Whale folk artist Lauren Noah, inspired by frequencies of nature and celestial realms. Honored guest is Chief Valerio Freddy Kohela. Chief Freddy is a priest from the Callaway community high in the Peruvian Andes. For decades, he's been traveling internationally, spreading the wisdom and teachings of his ancient culture. Tickets are $75 and premium tickets are $150, appetizers included, or $25 to watch at home online. Tickets available at the door, credit card only. Join us for the Winter Solstice celebration on Friday, December 20th at 5:30 p.m. at St. Anthony Main's Hefe Hall of Kings. Again, tickets available at the door.
Links to online ticket sales at michaelmonroemusic.com under performances.
Let Next Chapter Booksellers help you with your holiday shopping. Next Chapter Booksellers has the perfect gift ideas. Books make for easy, thoughtful gifts that are a breeze to wrap and ship. And if you're not sure what book to get, the friendly staff at Next Chapter Booksellers are great at recommendations for any age and taste. Explore their wide selection of puzzles and games for interactive family fun. And if you're still stumped, then try a Next Chapter Booksellers gift card. That's Next Chapter Booksellers in St. Paul, your destination for easy-to-give gifts.
Hi, everyone. Matt McNeil here. 4 years ago, we came out with the first AM 950 calendar. Now get ready for the 5th edition. It's the 2025 AM 950 calendar, featuring photos I've taken across Minnesota, plus important dates in both progressive and AM 950 history. All new and current sustaining members who make a recurring donation of $10 will receive an AM 950 2025 calendar as a thank you. If you make a monthly recurring contribution of $25 or more, you'll receive a thank you of both the AM 950 calendar and a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book. Make a one-time $30 donation, you'll get a calendar as a thank you, or make a one-time $100 donation, you'll receive both the AM 950 calendar and a signed Tom Hartman book as a thank you. It's really simple to become a member of AM 950. Go to our webpage, am950radio.com. Click on the membership button and sign up. The website has all the details on the different levels, the 2025 calendar, and Tom's book. Thank you to everyone who, over the last 5 years, has continued to help support AM 950, one of the last true progressive radio stations in the country. Thanks for keeping AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, on the air.
This is Andy Otto, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we discuss our newest adventure, the Pride Cultural Arts Center. With the help from the Minneapolis Culture Arts Department, we are bringing back the Gayborhood. We'll talk about how we're going to use this new space and how you can be part of it. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Welcome back. I'm Lori Fitz, your host, and I want to welcome you to Connections Radio Show. We're wrapping up today's wonderful show where we've been talking about all the cool things that the library system provides us and how we can get access to it. This program has been brought to us by MELSA, and MELSA is the Metropolitan Library Service Agency. And hosting with me throughout all of our shows that we've been doing a series on is Sally of MELSA and Susan the librarian.
Hey, all y'all.
And, and Sally.
Hi, I never know how to follow Susan's greetings.
No, you just have to go with it.
Well, I just don't, yeah.
Wherever it goes, it goes.
I like to switch it up.
You do. And I just want to thank you both. It's been such a joy to be working with you on these shows. And I appreciate all the work that you have put into supporting the show and being a co-host for, being able to share with our community all the great things about our libraries. So thank you both. And with that, we've got some great invitees that Sally has invited for our show today. We had a chance to talk with Paula Lafreniere, and she's the Adult Services Coordinator at Scott County Library. Welcome, Paula. We've been so glad to have you on our show.
Nice to be here. Thanks.
Kelsey Johnson Kaiser has joined us, and she talked about the Youth and Family Services. She works in the St. Paul Public Library System. And thank you so much for sharing about the great kids programs that are available, Kelsey.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be here.
And Jessica Shank is with the Carver County, and she talked to us about volunteer opportunities. You might not think about having a chance to volunteer, but there's great programs for teens and adults, and even working with other organizations to volunteer for our library system. And we started our conversation with Chase Sunt. Chase Sunt is the current library manager at the St. Francis Library. And he started to talk to us about legacy programs and education programs that all are welcome. So tell us some more, Chase, about the opportunities and how people can get connected into the programs that you offer.
For sure. And I think what we learned today is we really want to connect with the community. We want to get to know what they need and what they want, and how the library can support that for people who have access to libraries, but then for those who may not have access to libraries, and how we can best serve them and really look outside. And sometimes it's not really about bringing people to the library, but bringing the library to people. And how do we best do that? And I think really it's also like through programs such as legacy programs, we connect with our community organizations, our community partners. I know at Anoka County and my experience with them, I've worked with the Rum River Art Center, which is a local art center in Anoka County, and they're so wonderful and they're amazing. And they do programs for all ages, not just kids, but teens and adults. And I think what's really important to recognize is that, coming from like that adult programming side, is really think about the kids programs as well, because adults are there too. So while the kids are in the program, while the kids are being, entertained by musician or art or learning something new, right? You can talk to the adults and see, what are they looking forward to? How can we best serve them? So using those opportunities to really grasp to that community and just keep building those connections.
I've been really amazed over our last few shows about learning really the technology of the libraries that allows the library to live in your own home.
Yep, but I mean, on top of the whole Libby online ebooks, we've got online resources for education. We've got apps you can download with your library card. But a lot of the programs, especially for the adults, you don't need a card. You don't have to be a member. There are some that are available via technology for you live or 2 weeks from now when you have some time. So we're trying to work in with our technology to be able to adapt to what people need, which we couldn't before.
And being able to hear what they need.
Yes.
And it's like a growing organization that continues to find new ways to make the connections, to provide the services, to provide the ideas, to provide the mechanism to keep learning.
Yep, libraries evolve, but we also have the same core values we always have.
Great. With libraries and books, I know that we got some of your recommendations at the top of the show. Chase, I'm going to start with you. Do you have some good books that you can recommend and ones that you've enjoyed reading this year?
Yeah, so I read kind of all over sometimes, depending on I'm a mood reader. So one of the earlier book I read this year was a YA kind of pop punk play on Avril Lavigne's Skater Boy.
Sure.
By Anthony Narada, and it's really it's a queer romance, really about kind of breaking societal stereotypes of how to fit in, and just kind of create your own story. And then as we're kind of approaching and kind of in the midst of the holiday, why not read a holiday book? So Make the Season Bright by Ashley Herring Blake, a sapphic romance where two exes find themselves stranded together on a winter vacation. And it's just like that Hallmarky rom-com book that you just kind of like. It's just a nice little fluff read to kind of wrap up the holidays.
Oh, and a little bit of romance is a nice thing, even in the holidays, or maybe especially in the holidays. Kelsey, tell us, do you have a book that you like that you want to recommend, and a book that you've enjoyed?
Yeah, this is the most fun part of the job and the hardest, because you start thinking about all the books you read and then it's difficult to narrow down. So a couple of things that I want to highlight. One is that there is a book that was published this year. I have it written down. It's called That Always Happens Sometimes by Kylie Frank. And it is a really delightful, sweet, funny picture book about a kid who has a ton of energy, has a hard time focusing and kind of staying on task. So I think kids who struggle with attention or have ADHD might really resonate with this character. But it's funny and it's sweet, and it's kind of the course of what he does during the day and how sometimes the ways that he thinks differently actually are a real asset to the work that's being done between him and his classmates. So that one just made me laugh out loud. It was really sweet. And then I would say I am a real fan of cozy fantasies, which is something we're seeing a lot of this year, and especially around this time of year. So an author that I would recommend is T. Kingfisher. She has a whole bunch of different sort of cozy fantasy books that are delightful, have heart, are fun, but aren't like super heavy reads. So that's another one that I would say I really enjoy at this time of year.
They have them for every age group, I believe.
Oh, that's
kids,
great.
teens, adults for the Kingfisher.
Yeah, she writes some books for kids under the name Ursula Vernon.
And we're coming down to only 2 more minutes. So I'm going to ask the last two to give me some real quick good reads. Kelsey?
Oh, I just went. So maybe you want to switch to somebody else.
Paula?
Yeah, I'm going to recommend a couple. One of them was Burn by Peter Heller. It's a brand new book of his, and it's kind of a downer, but it's kind of very interesting. It takes place in Maine. 2 guys have gone hunting, and they come out, and the world has changed since they left. So I'll just leave it at that. It's really good. If that gets you down,
if you like,
yeah. If that gets you down too much, then I suggest this other one, which is called Remarkably Bright Creatures. It came out a couple of years ago by Shelley Van Pelt. It is a wonderful book about an octopus.
Ooh, that sounds like fun. Jessica, did I have a chance to ask you?
No. So I would say I have a book club that I participate in. Librarians have book clubs too. One of the books that I loved was Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. It's by Jessie Q. Santano, and it has a sequel coming out soon. That one is a very cozy, what I would call a dramedy, drama, funny, kind of some mystery elements to it. You'll laugh. It's cozy. I loved it.
That's wonderful. And was that, and any other books from anyone? I've got just about a minute left. If anyone has anything else that they didn't have a chance to share about a good book. Oh, we got it all. Well, thank you to everyone today. And a special thank you to all the wonderful work that's being done through MELSA and through each of the library systems. Sally, would you like to have any closing comments?
Yeah, in addition to, thanking our guests today so much for sharing their work and what they do, all of our library systems offer so many different things. There are some commonalities across the systems, but there are some unique things as well. So feel free to visit even outside your home library system. There's a lot going on across the metro.
That's wonderful. And thank you, Susan, for always giving us some great insight.
Thank you for having me.
And with that, we thank everyone for listening and connecting in to our library system, and continue to take advantage of all the great services available.